How's that?
Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how are you doing?
Good. You know, it's always a good night. We're talking again to the wisest hockey fans in the world, fans of the Edmonton Oilers, and sometimes perhaps the longest suffering, certainly in that group. Tonight was the Oilers were cruising for a bruising tonight. Maybe we were all a little too high on our horses, Bruce, after that last victory and thinking maybe the Oilers had unlocked the secrets to being a really good NHL team. It all came tumbling down against the San Jose Sharks, who beat the Oilers 6-3. The Oilers were never in this game. They came out playing like crap, and they continued to play like crap through most of the game. So this is our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast, Bruce. What was your good thing?
Well, honestly, David, I got nothing good to say about this game. So what I will say is that through 20 games, which is a milestone, quarter of the way through the season, at 12-6-2, the Oilers are 3 points ahead of the 2016-17 Edmonton Oilers, who at this stage were 11-8-1. For 23 points. This year they got 26. So despite tonight's miserable performance, the team is in pretty good shape overall at this marking point of the season. So in finding something positive, I'll go for that.
Well, I wonder what they were last year, because last year they weren't bad. Remember, because when Hitchcock took over, they kind of went on a decent little run of winning. They weren't like 8-1 or 8-2 or 8-1 or something like that when he first took over. And
yeah, well, he took over after game 20. It was last year Todd McClellan got fired after game 20.
Okay, so they would have been down in the dumps. But they would have been like 8-12 about now,
I think they were
9-11,
3 or something at the point that he got fired. I'll tell you in half a shake here. Hockey Reference is awesome for this.
Putting up
after game 20, they were 9-10-1, 19 points.
And it was about now that McClellan it was after 20 games,
after
right?
game 20
it was right now.
Yeah, right now.
So they're 3 wins different, or is that essentially it?
Yeah, they're 3 wins plus an overtime loss better than last year. They're 26 points compared to 19, or even compared to 23 in their one memorable year. They had 23.
Yeah. So a lot went wrong tonight, but I wasn't. That's an understatement. There was a few things that went right. You know, like Leon Draisaitl, he can't help but put up points. Bruce, can he? Like it's just like 2 points. Like just cash in the 2-point card every night, Leon, and get your 2 points and. No matter what. And if you're playing well, you get 3 or 4 points. But he wasn't my good thing, although he did make a really, really nice pass to Kassian on that last goal. My good thing was a handful of the role players. Joachim Nygard back from injury, Patrick Russell, and Josh Archibald. I thought they were all really hustling. And Russell, he got off the first grade A scoring chance shot on a play set up. I think it was that on Nygard who took it to the net?
So,
yeah, Nygard takes it to the net and he hit the post. If he had scored there, right, that's maybe this is a different game. He won the puck in the corner on Draisaitl's goal initially early in that virtuous cycle, and his hard sprawl at the net was one of the keys on Gagne's goal. The third goal. So, 3 strong offensive plays from a player who hustles all night long. Nygard was hustling all night long. He took the puck hard to the net on Gagne's goal. Made a lot of good plays through his hustle. Wasn't noticeably bad. And Archibald had a great shorthanded chance manufactured for Riley Sheehan with his really hard driving play up the wing. So, one of the good signs about this team is that, there's small differences compared to last year's team, and the depth players I think are a cut above the depth players on last year's team, the depth forwards, and certainly Ethan Bear makes a difference on defense, although not tonight. Bruce, what was your Bad thing.
We doing one bad thing or two?
Well, we can do two each. It's
Last
that
game
kind
we
of
did
night.
two each good things because it was that kind of night. Well, tonight is that kind
Let's
of
go
night.
for it, man. Go
I
for it.
got I got I got two bad things.
Okay.
Uh, First one is Edmonton's start to the game or failure to start the game. They came
Beautiful.
out and they were skating in sand from the very first minute of the game. I was going, oh no, I don't like the looks of this because they were losing all the races. And honestly, David, I think it was 3 minutes before an Oiler made a pass to another Oiler. It was about 4 minutes before they won a battle. It was about 7 minutes before anybody hit anybody. And I think it was 3-0 before McDavid ever touched the puck in the game.
Ugh.
And when he did, he was so grateful he passed it right to Eric Carlson. I mean, they just weren't ready for the start of the game. The Sharks came out loaded for Oiler,
Yeah.
and the Oilers just had no response. And after that, it was a fairly even game. You know, I think if you look at scoring chances, they were about 10-10. If you look at shots on net, they were 25-24. And if you look at the score beyond the disastrous first period, it was 3-3. But the game was never in doubt. They never got within 3 goals because they just weren't ready for the start of the game. Plus, what will be my second bad thing in a moment.
Matt, first shift, Matt Benning, who had an otherwise okay game, he loses a battle at the blue line, and Joe Thornton is in there with a good chance, although Kara caught up to him in the end. It was just like that kind of game where just right off the top things went bad. Okay, so my bad thing is Dave Tippett tonight. The coach, I think there was a there was one truly inexplicable move that he made. That was putting like I don't put Sam Gagner in your lineup. Sam Gagner, he's on your top 12 forwards on this team, in my opinion. I don't know why he was out of the lineup. And he did score a goal. He helped set up Draisaitl's goal, but play him at center. I
Yeah,
mean, Gaetan Haas has not been bad at
no,
center. He's been doing okay. Marcus Granlund is okay at center. So when
no.
did Sam Gagner last play center? It's not this year, I
Not
don't
since
think.
he came back to the Oilers last year. He came back here and he was a winger the whole time. And I don't think he's played center really anywhere else since he left the Oilers. And wouldn't you know, I think it was their first shift of the game. And Gagne might as well have been on the moon on the Brent Burns goal that opened the scoring.
Yeah, he was
Like
trying to be
he was
defensively
just
responsible.
standing. He was just standing beside one of the defensemen on the edge of the crease, while San Jose outnumbered the Oilers at the top of the slot. And once they made that second pass, Brent Burns had all day to get a shot away from where he wanted to take it, and he didn't miss. I mean, that was a great shot. But geez, you gotta have some kind of player, passing them at least a little bit. Like they were just at sixes and sevens there.
He was trying to be defensively responsible. I think he's thinking, okay, I'm the center. I cover down low, but there was nobody to cover. There,
Yeah, because
they were out. They were,
Marcus Sorensen went up high in the zone,
yeah,
and forward needed to chase him up there, at
switch.
least be within 20 feet of him.
Yeah, and Gagne just blew and again, this isn't on Sam Gagne. He's
No,
not a center.
no,
It's on the
no.
coach. You don't. Why did you do that, coach? What are you thinking?
Well,
So, so the other. Go ahead, Bruce.
the coach, what Bob Stafford said on Oilers Now today, and I don't know if it was just sort of a, a whimsical observation by Bob or if it had legs. But he said it's interesting to see that all the players on the mom's road trip all got to play. So even though they had the same lineup that stomped two teams in a row, the third game they switched to goalie, they switched all the maximum number of players, and they wound up with the dog's breakfast of a lineup that we saw tonight. And
Well, okay, well, but switch Sam Gagne in, but take some. Don't leave yourself short of center. I mean, that's
uh,
just ridiculous.
yeah,
And so that was on the. But there was other things like, okay, how many times do we have to see San Jose beat us from the blue line? How
uh,
about develop a game plan where you
uh,
take away where the fundamental thing is, most of their offense is coming from Carlson, Burns, and other players at the blue line. That they score endless goals throwing the puck at the net in a very smart fashion.
uh,
Don't leave the points open like you did this game. If you're going to play San Jose, that's where they're going to generate offense from. Cover that off. There was, I don't know, like I don't want to single out Tippett because this has been happening for years, and maybe you're going to give up something down low if you do that. But nonetheless, Bruce, how many times do we have to see that throw it at the net, throw it at the net, screen, 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 tip, 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 and a cheap
Mhm.
shot goes like a non-dangerous moment becomes a goal against. It is these Oilers, Edmonton Oilers saga, their horse story against the San Jose Sharks, and we've seen like this is Nightmare on Elm Street 1037, episode of 1037, 38, 39,
Mhm.
40. We saw
Uh,
tonight.
Yeah, well, this was my other bad thing, so we're kind of already there. Oilers' defensive zone coverage was horrendous in this game, just horrendous in this game. They were getting beat in the neutral zones, but they were getting beat along the blue lines, along the walls, in the slot, and time and again. I mean, San Jose scored 4 of their 6 goals were scored on deflections. A fifth one was scored where the point shot was deflected, hit Smith, and then Evander Kane had all month to catch the rebound because nobody bothered to cover him around the front of the net. And so literally 5 of the 6 goals were on deflections, and the sixth one was also generated from a point shot. Well, the play to Brent Burns, where a defenseman scored, where he didn't need anybody to tip that one because he had such a clean look. But they weren't covering the point shots. They weren't blocking, getting in the lanes, and they just sift one in from the point. Some dude would cruise through the slot, and nobody would take the guy's stick, and he'd tip it. And I mean, tonight was a night where their tips were finding holes. I mean, for all that Mike Smith allowed 6 goals on 25 shots, I'm having a hard time saying, well, this goal or that goal, he should have stopped. And maybe the fifth goal, because the deflection was so slow and it went through his legs, I thought maybe he could have had a stick on that one. But that was a play where the guy comes out of the penalty box and heads for the front of the net. And the Oilers they might as well have been 9 pins. They just, nobody reacted, nobody moved. Nurse was, I don't know what he was doing on that play, and uh, you know uh,
Twice he did the Yanni Pitkinen out there, Bruce. The Yanni Pitkinen, which is wander around, not covering anybody and not stopping the shot or stopping the pass. You're in the red light zone. That's where Yanni Pitkinen lived. And Darnell Nurse was living there tonight on a couple goals against. He needed to switch with a forward or not switch. They needed to figure this out, communicate. And twice, because that didn't happen, San Jose scored goals. So Darnell Nurse, talk to your teammates. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
really.
James Neal was down low, and Nurse started to come to cover on that hurdle goal, the one you're talking about, the weak tip by the
Hmm.
suddenly hated Hurtle because of his cheap
Hmm.
shot on McDavid. Nurse switched back, but he didn't. I was looking and I didn't see him yell at Neal like I'm switching. So
Hmm.
Neal sees him moving, and then he moved up, and he moves up just as Hurtle's moving in. Neal doesn't get him. RNH doesn't get him. I mean, Drew Remenda blamed Cassian coming out of the penalty box, but really Cassian didn't have a hope on that because he
Well,
he
it
was
was
he was a zone behind
it was
coming
second
out of
period, so he was
yeah.
behind
That it wasn't
Hurdle coming
Cassian.
out of the box. But some defensive structure wouldn't have gone amiss there. And
Yeah.
Nurse, I think you got maybe the two of them conflated slightly, David, because that was the second one. That was the one where Nurse was playing up on the wing, and he never switched back, and
Well,
Hurdle went right to the front of the net where
he started to
Nurse
switch,
could have
Bruce.
been. And then
He
the other one with Neal was an earlier goal where Neal chased the guy into the corner, and Darnell just kind of stood around in the middle of nowhere, the red light zone, I
let me
guess.
just look. We do track these scoring.
We sure
So
do.
no, it was Nurse. It was Neal who was back on the hurdle goal, and the other one was um, I'm not sure who we should have switched with there. McDavid made a turnover at the blue line, and it's not really apparent who would the forward was. But on the fifth goal, if you look at our
Yeah.
scoring chance document, that was Neal. Okay. Anyway, my other tippet,
The fourth and fifth goals, Nurse was out to lunch on both.
both
So
of them,
look
same
at
kind of.
look at those replays. Watch Nurse, and you probably won't see the goal because you'll be watching somewhere away from the play.
Wasn't good. Okay, so listen, I've been harping on this a lot, and I
Oh,
don't mean to pick on players, but it ends up that I inevitably pick on players. Um, Listen, Brandon Manning is a hustler. He's a hard worker. He stood up for Connor McDavid after Zach Cassian did after that kind of cheap play by Thomas Hurdle. But man, Bruce, he can't keep up. And And so the third goal, first Patrick Marleau beats him. He's awkward, man. Like, why is he playing the right side?
85-year-old Patrick Marleau beat him, you mean?
Yeah, Marleau
Yeah.
beats him, and then he beats him to the front of the net on the tip, and then he gives up another slot. He allows another pass in the slot. Manning does, and then he gets beat by Marcus Sorensen, deked out of his jockstrap by Sorensen, who sets up Thornton, and Thornton might have scored, but he shot it off Manning at that point. And then Manning got in the fight, and we didn't see him again after that.
He got a game misconduct.
He got a game
I
misconduct.
just looked it
So
up. Yeah, I don't remember hearing him say that, but he got the toss. I think maybe they thought he threw a punch after the linesman tried to break it up, which he did. He tried to keep the fight going, and the linesman. Oh, that was the first fight of the year in the Oilers game. First
that's
fight of the
interesting.
entire season, game number 20.
So Bruce, we need to see, like, honestly, if you're missing a player, you're in California, Bakersfield's not far away. You can bring Caleb Jones or William Lagesson up. They're both good to go. Caleb Jones plays the right side regularly. If you need a lefty to play the right side, he's your man. He moves the puck. He showed at the NHL level last year. If you play him on the third pairing, he will get the job done. He is a really solid third pairing defenseman, at least at the NHL level. And coach seems to like playing Brandon Manning, and there you have it. So that's why I'm a little down on the coach tonight, who's done an otherwise obviously excellent job this year. The coach,
Yeah,
has,
he
but
had a bad game tonight, and I think this, whatever the reason was for switching up the lineup, it certainly blew up in his face. And
yeah,
the team just they were at sixes and sevens, as the British soccer commentators like to say, right off the hop. As I mentioned earlier, they just never had their crap together until way too late.
I can see why you take out Joel Persson. He's really struggling with his confidence, but would he was like I could, so I
Yeah,
could, but and they're just probably thinking, okay, Adam Larson's back like real soon. We'll just struggle through without calling up anyone, without upsetting the apple cart in Bakersfield. And we'll just struggle through with Manning for now, and maybe they'll go back to Persson next game or something, probably. And they'll just struggle through till Larson's back. But I don't know. I think the evidence is in. Personally, I think the evidence is in that puck. When you're playing a cycle team like the San Jose Sharks, the way you beat the cycle isn't with a big plodding bruiser. It's by moving the puck fast. Get that puck out of your zone. When you win that puck, pass it out of your zone. Fast, accurate passes. That's how you beat. That's how you beat the forecheck. That's how you beat the cycle. And I think Tippett knows this because he's brought in a great breakout scheme. But it's not what we saw in the game tonight. We didn't see the passing player Persson in. We saw the plotter in Manning, and with predictable results, I'm going to say, because I've been predicting them, Bruce. Maybe
yeah.
maybe I'm seeing things that aren't there, but that's what I'm seeing.
Well, the one guy that we've been applauding for his good passing, Ethan Bear. Let me count this up. I think he was on the ice for 4 goals against. 1, 2, 3, 4 goals against, and 2-4. So he was -2 on the night. But
Tough night for Bear.
that's a tough night, man. Oh man, yeah.
He was off.
And he also took a penalty shot, gave up a penalty shot after coughing the puck up and hacking guy. Who was the guy that missed the penalty shot?
Was it Hurton? No, was it Sorensen?
Evander Kane. Evander Kane.
Yeah, Citizen Kane. All right. What's your number?
My number is -1. This was the Oilers were very they shared the wealth tonight, or the poverty. And after the first 3 goals, after the first period, 15 different Oilers were -1. 3 completely different fivesomes all gave up the 3 goals, and they were all getting beat. And then the one line that emerged from the first period unscathed, which was the McDavid, Draisaitl, Cassian line, they gave up one right away early in the second. 2 of them did, and Draisaitl took a puck in the face, so he missed the end of the shift and the goal against. So already by 4-0, every player on the team but one was minus, and it was just just not their night, David.
It
It's
was
the
not.
good thing is, yeah. I mean, to me, it's a game where it's almost pointless pointing fingers. Like I was reading online, a couple people were hammering Brandon Manning pretty good. And the thing is, I mean, you can't point your finger at one guy and say he cost us that game, damn it, because that was a team effort and a well-deserved loss by the Oilers,
That is exactly what I said in the lead of my game grades, which are
which I
now
haven't even read
posted.
yet. But yeah, I
It's
agree
exactly
100% with that sentiment.
it was a player and coaching induced self-immolation, is how I described it. So
Oh, okay, that
maybe a
works.
bit dramatic.
That
Okay.
works.
Uh, my number, Bruce. Let me
Hmm.
just find my number. It is a very unhappy little number. 1329 is my number. That is the time on ice that Alex Chason was allegedly on the ice for tonight. I think, Bruce, that he went full Klingon. He had the cloaking device on the entire game and was now you'd think if you had the cloaking device on, you might sneak in there and score a goal. But no. He had it on all game. No one saw him on the ice and he didn't do anything. And that's kind of overly snide and harsh, but for it's the old story of the role player. You got to do something to get noticed and help your team win the game. And man, he typified the lack of that in this game from a number of players.
Yeah, well, I was speaking with my wife in the third and mentioning a few names of guys that were playing bad, not singling out any one of them because it was quite a list. And she went right to Alex Chason. I went, well, I didn't notice Chason, so maybe that's a good thing because the guys I did notice, so I noticed them when they were making mistakes. But he really did. He's been very noticeable in recent games, but today he might as well have been the Phantom of the Opera.
I think as a general rule, it's a good thing if you don't notice a defenseman. Like I didn't, other than that first shift, I didn't notice Matt Benning tonight. That's a good thing if you're a defenseman. You don't get noticed. That's good. Like I
Hmm.
noticed
And he
Arnell
played
Nilsson.
second pairing tonight. Did you
He
notice
did, and
that
I
with
I liked
Klefbom?
and I liked it. I was cool with that because I think
Hmm.
um, that's the move. I prefer having Russell on the third pairing, trying to carry the mail with
Hmm.
Caleb Jones or William
Well,
Augustin, and move Benning up to the second
hmm.
pairing. Um, Now I forgot my point, but yeah, I forgot. I did forget my point. Anyway,
You're like
Bruce.
the Oilers. They forgot to cover the point tonight.
Oh, it was a tough one. That was a bad
Yeah,
one. Not good. Not good at all. Alrighty. So they play Thursday.
they play Thursday. They play Saturday, and then in a very odd quirk of the schedule, they play again 1 week from tonight, back in San Jose. Same barn, same opponent. 2 games in a week. And usually they're home and away when you get 2 games that close against the same team, but not so this time. So,
Okay, I remember my point. My point is, and I don't think I made it fully. If you don't notice a defenseman, that's good. But if you don't notice a forward, that's
yeah,
bad. Okay. So that's
yeah,
the general rule of NHL
reasonable.
hockey. At least it's okay if you don't
Hmm.
notice a defenseman and if you don't notice a forward. That's usually a bad thing because they're expected to, unless you're just the grind line. But you notice the grind line. If they shut down the other team's top line, you notice that. But if you're like Riley Sheehan and you let, was it Evander Kane go right to the net and score a goal, then you're
Yeah,
noticed. That's
yeah.
not good. All right. Let's leave it there. Let's leave
Yeah,
it, Bruce. It's time
yeah.
to go.
Enough
Time to
said
go
about
watch.
that stinker.
I'm
Time to go
gonna
to
go watch The
bed.
Expendables 2 on
Oh,
TV and
okay.
get my mind off this horrible moment.
All right. Well, good luck in your tournament later this week.
Yes, yeah. We're going down to Calgary for the what's it called? The Wickenheiser tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a girls hockey tournament. It's the Wick Fest. That's it. In
Okay.
Calgary, it's an annual tournament
The
for girls
Wiccan,
hockey
the
teams.
Wiccan Festival.
Oh,
Halloween was last week.
yeah, the Wick Fest, the Wick Fest. All right, you could
Well,
get
that should
canceled. You could get canceled for a joke like that, Bruce. You got to be
that's
careful these days. So, the Wick Fest. Yeah, it'll be fun.
That should be fun.
Yeah. All right. Thanks
Well,
for talking
anyway,
tonight.
Kurt and I'll cover you off while you're gone, and
Yeah, if we can figure out how to
we'll
set you up
chat
on
soon. Yeah,
yeah, if we
yeah,
can figure
we'll
out how
have
to
to
set
work
you up.
through that.
Yeah, knowing what we know about technology, Bruce, it'll only take us probably like 15 hours to figure that out, but we'll get her done. Thanks for talking tonight.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.